somehow I came across Margaret Sutherland as a composer, and I thought, I didn't think there were too many women composers around at that time. She was born in 1897, died in 1984. She really was one of the first composers in Australia who was brave enough, I guess, to introduce more radical style of music that was reacting a little bit against the 19th century romanticism. In her music, she was always attempting something new, something a little bit radical. If we listen to her music now, it doesn't sound particularly radical, but of course it did then. Her legacy is much more than music. She really fought for a new cultural centre, for all the arts, for concerts, for opera, for theatre, etc., etc. She got together with her good friend Lorna Sterling, a violinist and musicologist, wrote a letter to the paper saying, is there anyone else who's interested in joining us in fighting for this cultural centre? And one lone fellow responded, John Lloyd, who was he worked in the titles office, but he was very much into the arts. And Margaret snapped him up because she thought it's probably a good idea to have a man involved. At that time, it will, lend more credibility to the project. So the three of them met together in her music room in Kew and cooked up an idea to invite all the arts organisations, or as many as possible, to join them in a meeting at the Assembly Hall in Melbourne. And there they decided that they would come up with a petition and spread it around everywhere in Melbourne and Victoria and get as many signatures as possible. That was the beginning of the fight for the Arts Centre, which lasted for quite a few years, and many other people became involved later on, obviously, but she was there right at the beginning. And actually, she was able to attend the opening of the concert hall in 1982. It was 2 years before she died. She was very frail and she was blind. The sad thing about it, it was a very happy occasion, but the sad thing about it was that in the concert, that inaugural concert in what is now Hamer Hall, included no Australian music at all, and so obviously none of Margaret's music. So I don't know what Margaret thought of that, but I don't think she would have approved. And there were many others who likewise criticised it, and there were articles in the paper, etc., etc. But she was acknowledged during Sir Rupert Hamer's speech as being present, and her importance in Australian music. I felt this biography really should be written so that her music could extend beyond music circles, musicological circles, because her story, I think, has a much wider relevance. I see it as part of a wider project to write women back into history.